This is Scott Anderson, EdTech 660, my final project presentation. My instructional design project was based off of a new theory or new idea that I came up with for Baker Schools, which would be the Baker Schools Technology Warehouse. It's a lesson training session designed to help teachers move to a more hybrid environment based off our current face-to-face model. In order to do this, I wanted to use our existing learning management system to assist the ease of the transition. Our staff has already been trained on this learning management system, so of course the goal was to use that as kind of an advantage in that we wouldn't have to reteach that system, but rather how we can utilize it as a training tool to move our current face-to-face method to an online environment that combines the face-to-face learning model with that of obviously the advantages of posting things online in an online learning management system. I used the Assure model to help design my instructional design plan. You can see that this model basically stands for an acronym, or is an acronym, for the areas of emphasis. And in this case, analyze the learners, and state objectives and standards, select strategies, media, materials, and technology, and then how you're going to utilize that media, materials, and technology. Making sure to require learner participation during the process, and obviously evaluate and revise the plan to make sure that it is truly successful and is integrated in a positive manner that works. So starting with the strategies and tools, of course, again, I wanted to build on the learner's current experience. My goal is not to reinvent the wheel or to make anybody feel uncomfortable, but rather show them how we can use this as a tool to train on new items, new technology items, new things in the classroom or ideas, and use the online environment to expand that a little bit to include discussions and screen captures and pros and cons, and so that way we can work through any issues, as well as any links and resources that might be beneficial for our entire staff, and how to obviously not only get content from there, but how they can also add content to help out their peers. So for that, obviously we need to utilize computers, projectors, a smartboard, and most importantly, some type of learning management system. For Baker Schools, we use Gaggle, and Baker High School website, a teacher portal, so that way they have easy access to it right from their school website that they have under their teacher portal. So breaking down the learning objectives, just to kind of briefen it up, I've given you the entire paragraph form, but the first objective I kind of like to break down to just say, what do we need to use this particular model? What do we need to be able to do? And the second one, of course, is what tools do we need to understand in order to make this successful? So both of these objectives were designed to try to, I guess, answer those questions. And the big thing in the learning outcomes, once they've gone through the training session, is how can they actually use it? So to measure my learners, I wanted to make sure that it was kind of based on the teachers actually utilizing the tool and utilizing the theory throughout the entire school year. So I kind of figured on a pass-fail model that we could use with successful integration of the tools considered to be a pass, and of course improper, unsuccessful tool implementation to be considered a failing measurement. And then if I have lower learners or lower ability learners that aren't tech savvy or perhaps did not pass, they may have to be required to attend refresher trainings or additional training to help get them up to what we would consider proficient. In order to evaluate my project, my two thoughts were, of course, a peer review using the EdTech 660 students. Since they are versed now in instructional design concepts and ideas, I felt they would be a very beneficial group to use, as well as a small group evaluation plan in which I could use 2 or 3 of my staff members to help me take a look at the instructional design model and the plan that I've come up with for implementing this hybrid environment, and then having them give me pros and cons and feedback, comments, or any other type of information that they could generate to assist me in making this plan a little bit better and to make sure that it's successful and is integrated in a positive manner. So with that said, of course, this instructional plan should meet two things, and that is to meet district's goals of having teachers move to a hybrid environment, becoming comfortable with the learning management system, as well as meets the request of the teachers to be able to review professional development content when they start to implement what they have learned into their curriculum. I think that's probably the biggest benefit to this instructional plan, is that they have those tools and resources that they can fall back to if they have forgotten something over time. So that way when they do go to implement it, it truly is successful, and they avoid those negative kickbacks from feeling unprepared when they go to run their lesson for the first time, their new lesson for the first time. So again, this was Scott Anderson, EdTech 660, final instructional design project presentation. Thank you.